Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dudettes. Today we have a very, very special guest. I'm very excited. We were almost co-workers once, but they wisely made the right decision in passing on me. And plus, last minute, I wasn't qualified to be a golf coach. Bob probably knows the struggle of how that all works in the SID department in college ball. But Bob Williams, I've known him since his days at West Virginia Tech, but recently took a very exciting opportunity I'm very excited to talk with him about. He has over 200 career wins in the collegiate level, and now he is the head coach at Fork Union Military Prep Academy. Bob Williams, good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you doing?
Thank you, Tony. It's good to be with you.
Yes. So new experience down at Fork Union. How excited are you to be down there at Fork Union? And tell us a little bit about what Fork Union Military Academy is, what its goals are, and a little bit of a history of the school.
Well, I'm still learning about it. I just got here a week ago, so
Come on, man.
having not been on campus in the past, but I knew a lot about Fork Union Military Academy as we've tried to recruit some of their former basketball players to West Virginia Tech and Glenville State over the years. But anyways, it's a boarding school, grades 7 through 12 for boys, and military and Christian institution. And it also offers postgraduate sports and academics for postgraduate football teams and basketball teams for boys. So that's kind of like a year after they graduate high school, and they spend a year here. And they're trying to improve in certain areas to get to the college level and earn a scholarship, and a tremendous amount of discipline here, outstanding academics. I've been very, very impressed so far with the faculty and staff and administration here, and the coaching staff, and the facilities are very good. And the food is outstanding too. And that's always important, Tony. And
at Alderson Broaddus, Heiner Diner was not known for its fine cuisine, but it was good enough. But man, yeah, I would have been dangerous with a good cafeteria.
AB, the Battlers.
That's right.
But anyways, it's it's over 100-year-old institution, and outstanding place, and a great place for young people to get their start. And I'm really looking forward to working here.
So, with COVID, it's messed up a lot of recruiting classes. For a little bit of background of what's going on behind the scenes in the recruiting world for everybody. Basically, COVID has granted college athletes, most of a extra year of eligibility. And what that did was there's a flow of recruiting classes from start to finish with only X amount of scholarships to go around. So now that there's scholarship players sticking around another year, having to stay on scholarship, it's taken scholarships away from incoming freshmen. So now they're looking for the JUCO level, the prep school level, like Fork Union Military, or they're trying to reclassify or reclass or whatever. So are you seeing or noticing a little bit more of an influx in attendees wanting to come to Fork Union because they're a borderline guy, they're not getting the looks that they want, so they thought maybe getting an extra year older and an extra year of ball under their skills? Is Fork Union getting more interest than normal? I know it's always had a lot.
Well, I think only being here a week so far, I'm still learning, but I think I sense that and I know that there's an uptick in 2021 high school graduates wanting to spend a year in postgraduate schools, or having to, or looking into every option they have. And I feel like there's going to be this is going to have an effect for a number of years, probably, this pandemic, academically and athletic scholarship wise. I think there's a lot of 2021 class athletes are sitting out this year at home, and they'll try again next year probably, and train for a year, maybe take part-time classes at their local schools, local community college or whatever. But I know a lot of kids were still searching as of just a few days ago we're still being contacted by people looking for schools here late in August.
Wow.
And we're set with our roster and really don't have the space unless it was a walk-on. But yeah, I feel terrible for the class of 2021 students, and this whole thing. I have a son was class of 2019 high school, Charleston Catholic in West Virginia, and he plays college basketball now. But this has affected him. We saw really strange recruitment all last year, the last 2 years really, and just because of the pandemic, and then especially with all the college student athletes from last year being granted an extra year, and that's NCAA D1, D2, D3, and NAIA, and junior college kids were granted an extra year if they wanted to. Now, all of them didn't take that, but I think a lot of them did. A lot of them did. Why wouldn't you want to play a fifth year? If it was granted to you, you're only young once. So, but it really, who's it hurt? It hurt the class of 2021 high school kids, and I was advocating for, hey, they should get another year. But most people don't want to go another year of high school. Even if it's just to play another year of basketball in high school, they don't want to go to school for another year.
As much as I love my math classes, I probably wouldn't have won another year either.
That's right.
So I think it affected more the D2 schools and the NAIA schools than it did the D1 schools, because D1, there's still that movement of just moving on along. You get more professional contracts at the basketball level at D1, where the D2 guys that are putting up pretty good D2 numbers, or NAIA, 25 and 8 or whatever a game, and they're still looking for maybe that opportunity to play overseas. So I think they have less opportunity to play at the next level. So I think the D2 schools have probably taken a little bit the bigger hit in on that one. So your journey, you were at, tell us how it started. You went to Jefferson County. It's your alma mater and then you started out there.
Yeah, I grew up in Watertown, New York. Grew up in a basketball family. My father was a longtime college basketball coach, and he was a first-team All-American at Broome Tech in Binghamton, New York, and then he played at Lamar University down in Texas, and then started as a high school coach 4 years, and then he was a college coach. So I was a gym rat growing up. A lot of my friends were up on the ski slopes up in northern New York State. I was in the gym all the time growing up, and fell in love with the game of basketball. Fell in love with sports in general. I was a big baseball fan. I still am. I love baseball, but then once I got to high school, I focused on basketball, and I was a pretty decent point guard at my height, only 5'5", but back in those days in the 80s, you, as a point guard, you were just a table setter. They didn't want you shooting. My dad didn't like me shooting a lot either when I played for him at Jefferson. But I was fortunate. I played for or coached under 3 New York State Hall of Fame coaches.
Oh, wow.
My father being one of them, my high school coach being one of them. So I was blessed and learned the game from really good people. And then I knew at a young age, probably when I became a teenager, that I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a college coach eventually. And so I studied the game, and I ended up going to Ithaca College. I earned my bachelor's degree at Ithaca College. I played on the team and also was a student coach there. And then being a student coach there at age 23 allowed me to become a head high school coach, varsity boys basketball, Indian River High School. I probably wasn't ready, but I had the connections. I got the job and did that for 2 years. Then I moved down to Potsdam State, a Division III national powerhouse. Jerry Welsh, I was fortunate to work for him in his last year there. He had won 2 national championships in NCAA Division III, and learned a tremendous amount of basketball from him as well. And I stayed there 4 years. Then I went back, worked for my father at Jefferson Community College in his last season. And he was the athletic director, so I knew the AD pretty well. So he hired me as his successor at Jefferson Community College. And I was fortunate to coach there for 2 years. And our teams went to back-to-back Final Fours in junior college. And we played in the national championship game in '97. And then I parlayed that success into getting the Glenville State job, an NCAA D2 job in Glenville, West Virginia. Stayed there 5 years. Then, moved on to West Virginia Tech and stayed there 17 years. Took the last 2 years off, and probably not the bad, not the worst decision, taking 2 years off during the pandemic. And then
Timing.
I missed basketball. I missed it. You know, a lot of people thought I was retired for good, but I'm back, and I've found myself a great job here at Fork Union.
Yeah, it's a name that's been affiliated with prep basketball for as long as I've been involved in covering sports. So, I was really happy to hear the news from our buddy, mutual buddy Jeff Williamson. Sent the message there, who also helped set this up. So thank you, Jeff. But so here's a question for you on the lighthearted side: what was a bigger adjustment, moving to Glenville or Montgomery?
um, well,
Home of West Virginia Tech, for everybody that doesn't know.
yeah, my father helped me move the moving truck in from New York, upstate New York, down to Glenville. And we got out, we pulled into Glenville. As soon as we got into town at Glenville, pulled over. There's one traffic light in Glenville. It's 15 miles off the highway. It's kind of like Philippi times 3, you know, getting off the highway 79, but
Yeah,
you know,
That's
10
at
more
least-
miles.
At least you're close to a highway in Glenville.
Yeah, my father gets out of the truck and he goes, "Son, if you can recruit here, you can recruit anywhere."
Oh God, isn't that the
And
truth?
I learned a lot about coaching at Glenville. I enjoyed my 5 years there. Loved it. Loved the West Virginia Conference. Made so many friends. And I went from I was a young coach at 32, having the best team in New York State in junior college, the #1 team, to having the worst team in West Virginia in Division II, taking over a program that had been struggling the last couple of years. And I had to learn how to coach quickly. So, you know, instead of pressing and attacking people with better athletes, you know, I had to teach a matchup zone and just to keep our kids to stay in the game, give them a chance. And then we got better. And in the last third, fourth, and fifth years, we were pretty good at Glenville. But I cherish my days there, though. And Montgomery wasn't easy to recruit to either. I've always had jobs that were hard sells in recruiting because they've either been small towns, isolated, or, you know, even at Jefferson, you know, it's 5 hours from New York City. And so that wasn't an easy place to recruit to the snow belt.